Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of my OSWE series, where I build an application and we attack it. Okay, so for those who haven't seen my video already, go ahead and check out part 1, but just to give you a brief overview of what happened last time, basically we have a blog where you can comment and an admin can approve said comments. So if I go ahead and type in like, go subscribe to SecAura, which is me, SecAura, and then leave my comment as my name is SecAura, then go ahead and submit it. You can see that it does not appear here. Now if we go to the admin page, now we can go ahead and approve it. Now, from the perspective of where we're at, I'm running on localhost, and the admin page can only be accessed from localhost. So for example, if I go ahead and disable the comment I made, and go ahead over to my Kali instance, which is not from localhost, and go ahead to, say, the admin page, I'm going to get an error not allowed. Basically, it can only be accessed on my Windows machine. So you can determine which is which. I changed the theme on my Firefox to be this like pinky hue, and then my Kali looks like this. So just have a quick look at it, just so you can differentiate between. This is my Firefox on my Windows machine. If you look at temporary container, that's also good. A good notifier of what it means. And then if you look at this one, it's just basically Kali. You know, the standard Kalis you would expect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate to you the first attack, which is XSS or cross-site scripting. As you can see here, the very first attack in the chain. So, for those who aren't familiar with XSS, simply the way that it works is browsers are kind of stupid in the fact that they will print out anything you give to them. So, for example, if I put, hey, subscribe to, and then say like B, for example, SecAura, what this B will do is it will say, hey, I want you to basically make the contents of this bold. Simply, if I go ahead and just copy this and then put in like SecAura here, for example, I go ahead and submit, you will see that the Kali machine, has submitted a comment, but it hasn't appeared anywhere. I can't read it. I can't go to admin and read it, but the admin can read it. Now, if I, the admin, from my Windows machine, go to the admin, you'll see, hey, subscribe to SecAura. And basically that is because the browser has read the string, that has not pasted, that has not copied correctly. It copied the string that I typed, and let me restart. The comment I left basically has been rendered and processed by the browser as though it's from the original page. If I go to SecAura, probably not a very good search actually. Try and find the actual area where I say the word SecAura. Yeah, so go subscribe to SecAura. You can see here in the page it's just set as that, but that is because it is in the wrong area. It's actually I copy and paste the wrong area. So here we have hey subscribe to SecAura. You can see here that the B tags have got like a slight, they look slightly purple. In this is kind of awkward actually to try and see it. Let me go ahead and just find it directly. So you can see here, the B tags have got like a slight discoloration to them, so they're like purple. That tells us that the browser has actually rendered that as actual HTML or JavaScript or whatever. So just to summarize on that front, basically what has happened is a user or my Kali machine has submit a comment with some B tags around a word. This means the browser has then read those B tags and made the text bold. Another example is if I go to, say I paste the same thing, hey subscribe to SecAura, and I changed it to say, let's say like marquee. In fact, I'm going to go and demonstrate some JavaScript, since that's probably going to be more effective. Comment this and go to script. What this will do is it will basically say, hey, I want you to load some JavaScript. I want you to then alert, and then some message. So, hey, subscribe to SecAura. I'm going to remove the B tags just in case it messes it up. And then that should be fine. So now, when I submit this, like so, close off the script tag, you can see here basically what I'm typing in is script, say hey, this could be some JavaScript, alert, which is a JavaScript function, which opens up like a text box. This is my content, so hey, subscribe to SecAura, and then I close the script off like so. Copy. I'm going to go ahead and revert my my zoom. go ahead and just check that I'm actually recording. I am indeed. Leave the name as, say, Sakura. Go to submit content, and that's added. Now if I go to my admin panel and I refresh, you see, localhost, hey, subscribe to Sakura. Basically, the Kali machine has been able to execute JavaScript on my system because the browser has trusted it blindly. So what does that mean? Really what that means is I can execute JavaScript. And JavaScript, if you've ever written any or know about it, it's a very powerful language. And lots of websites use it to do lots of complicated things. And I can use that complication to basically do whatever I want. For example, I could embed an image onto the page. I guess I could go ahead and show you that now. So we could say like, never gonna give you up, GIF. Go ahead and grab the first GIF. If it wants to load, there we go. Cool. Copy. Copy image link. If I now go to that image link, you should now see that it plays it. Okay. Cool. I'm going to go ahead over to Sakura. I'm going to go ahead and delete the comment they made. Go ahead over to blog. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just go back to my Kali. Image search equals this. Paste in the link, and that should probably work. Go ahead and put like Rick for my thingy. Submit comment. Go over to my my admin, and you should now see the GIF is now in there. So basically, what that means is I, the Kali user, can make the admin's page run JavaScript, which is cool. And from an attacking perspective, we can do a bit more than that. We can, say, steal session tokens or anything like that. However, in this case, we can't steal session tokens because there are no session tokens. If I were to go, say, for example, just do like a demonstration of the script that I showed you before, if it even wants to have it in my history. Script, alert, hey, we'll take that one. I'm going to go ahead and use the document object, document.cookie. What I will do is it will basically print out the document.cookie, put the name here, and then go ahead and refresh. And we can see here, there's our XSS. But the issue is there was no document.cookie because there are no cookies set. If I go to inspect, go to console and paste in document.cookie in the context of my own browser, my own browser console, it's basically empty. There's actually, I had the alert still in there. If I go ahead and document.cookie, it's empty. So basically no sessions can be stolen because there were no sessions to be set in the first place. Okay, so I kind of tailored this around that fact to use what is called session writing. Now, we can basically make the admin perform any JavaScript we want, but we can't steal their session. But as an admin user, we have access to the admin panel. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this comment here that is beeping at me. I don't mind the Rick Astley, that's okay. And basically, we notice that there's an upload functionality here that we can see. Now, we, the admin, can see this, but the Kali user cannot. The attacker can't see this. But if I can see it, then so can the Kali user if they can get an XSS. For example, what we could do is we could actually include the contents of this page onto this page, but still only the admin can see it then. That doesn't really benefit us in any way. What we need to do is we need to go ahead and go to this page, get the contents of the page, and then send it back to ourselves. That's where Python comes in, the next aspect of yes. So we need to build a script that will basically listen for the contents. So basically we have our XSS that goes to the admin, that then calls back to us with some content. We can then use that content to then launch another attack back at the admin. And I apologize for the drawings, but basically our XSS pops on the admin then goes to an internal page. Let's say we put it there, and then that then goes to here. I maybe could have drawn that better, but it is what it is. I maybe should get a proper tablet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. So before we can do anything, we need, first of all, a way to include some code, right? So what we need to go ahead and do, we need to include a script source. So if I go over to my Kali, and we create basically a little file which will listen, which will run some code. So I'm going to go ahead into my VS Code, go into OSWE2, and we can just put like say XSS.js, right? And then in that code, we're simply just going to, let's say, script alert. In fact, we don't even really need the alert. We could probably just the script. We could probably just do like alert. I am running remotely. Okay, so that will then be included. So this is on our system, and we want to be able to basically pull that from there. So I need to go ahead and get my Kali's local IP, which is this here. And then we basically want to embed it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a web server. I have a tool called lweb. Basically, it does this command, and I'm going to demonstrate that so you can see it. So Python-m simple HTTP server, and then a port of 9000. And then when we get a request, for example, like so, we'll get a notification here. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go ahead and test it out. So if I go ahead and include XSS.js, simply we're using script source, including a remote source script, and then basically running from there. We'll call this pwn, and then we'll go ahead and submit the content. We can see here, if I go ahead and just close this, we don't have any requests. We don't have any web requests made. If I go ahead and refresh this page, oh, actually, you saw a notification that's in I'm running remotely. We see a connection made from my Windows host with the contents of I am running remotely. Let me refresh and you'll see it. I am running remotely. Basically, what we've done is we've included a remote script from my Kali machine onto the web application in the admin context. Which means we can pretty much do anything. So, for example, we could, embed this image. We could embed this image or a different image without actually having to modify a payload. We only have to modify the XSS.js. Okay, so what we can do there is we can basically, we want to go ahead and grab, we want to go ahead and fetch, say upload.php, or in this case, actually admin. If I could spell right, admin.php. Oh my god, admin.php. Then basically return that to like a variable, and then send the variable to our web server. So we grab the contents of admin, we store it in a variable, and then we send the contents of admin to ourselves. Make sense? Hopefully. Okay, so what we need to go ahead and do now is basically write some Python code. I have got a script basically that will do this for us that I wrote. I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you. Did that copy right? Copy. Right over to 2 and paste. Okay. So catch me basically. It looks like a lot of code, but really it's a lot of just setup. We'll start from the bottom here. So we have a function run. Basically, what this does is sets up a Python web server and listens out for post requests and get requests. Simply, and then prints it out. So if I go ahead and cancel this, actually, I want to keep. I can keep this. I want to keep this open basically to host the XSS payload, and then I want to go ahead and then have Python free catchme.py. And what that means is basically when a request is made, so curl 0, I think it's 8000 dash say admin, we get a request that is made to our Python web server. And yeah, if we then make a curl request, so for example d, then some data, it's going to throw us an error because my code basically listens out for certain parameters. But don't need to worry about it for now. The point is that we can basically create a web server to catch the data that is sent to us. An example of how this would work, so, is if I were to then take on, I could really do it by my IP somewhere, go ahead and just IP-add grep 192.168, want that, yeah, I want that one, and then run the Python server. I want to basically make a request. So if I go to my my normal browser, go to inspect just for proof of concept purposes, and I go to fetch, then the URL. So in my case, it's going to be HTTP. Don't think it actually saved my 192.168.153. I think it was 128. Copy that and enter. If I now go over to here, you should see there's a request that was made. We didn't get a request. Not quite sure why. That didn't work. We got a cause error, but that should still work. Network error, and maybe I typed the IP in wrong. That's probably what I did. Let me just check. 192.168.153. That looks right to me. Maybe that will work. Okay, yeah. So that worked equally, probably. Let me go ahead and check. Yep. No, it did not work. Although we did get a notification. We'll go ahead and just try this again. This should work, but it isn't. Get a request yet? We should have one at some point. Not quite sure what I'm messing up with that. We add something in there. Oh, I know the issue. I'm not using the right port. My dearest apologies. Okay, so go ahead and add the port in there. That's me copy and pasting badly. Okay, now we should have it working. See, there we go. Now we have the request. Apologies. Anyway, the point is our Windows host can make a connection to our Kali host. If they can make the connection to our Kali host, they can send us data. I can simply make this a post request and go from there. Okay, so if I were to go ahead into my my backend my OSWE code, we have a few different examples. So I want to look at I have a few here that's ready. So we have XSS.js. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this just for the moment and paste it in here. Now again, like it would be probably more helpful if I did this wrote this out manually with you guys, but honestly, it's gonna take a lot longer, and I'd rather have it working so you can understand why it works rather than watching me type it. Unfortunately, it's not pasting just to annoy me. Copy. Hopefully it pastes this time. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and overwrite it. Go ahead and delete this one. Okay, so XSS.js. Oh, actually, that turns out to be the wrong one. My bad. Let me delete this one. It's because they look very similar. That one was xxe.js. Go back over to video and copy the right one this time. Copy. Okay. Go back over to here and delete that one. Yes, and then paste this one. Okay, so what we can do is we can use fetch to basically go ahead and fetch some data. So what we have in this case is we have, I'm going to go just put this beneath so you can see a little bit better. So we have the path of admin.php, which on our Windows host is this /admin.php. We then fetch admin.php. We then take the response and we return it to this variable here of HTML. Basically what we're doing is we are making a request admin.php, taking the response of admin.php and then piping it into another function, which then sends the contents of admin.php to ourselves. The way this works basically is we make the request, we store the response and then send it to our Python web server. You can see here, this is our IP content, and then we then send in the URL, which is basically the path, and then the content. If I go ahead now and go ahead and save this, and go ahead and refresh on the Windows side, we should now get a request. Okay, so this is an error because output does not exist. Make the output. Okay, let's go ahead and rerun this just by simply refreshing. Now, actually, we need to boot up the Python web server. Go ahead and refresh. Now we should have a request of content. If I go into CD into output and then ILS, we should now have admin.php. And then if I open up in Firefox, you can see here that we have a very trimmed down version of the page. So just to summarize, what we have done is we have used our XSS to look at pages we can't normally access. So this is our Kali host. We want to go to admin.php, doesn't let us. If I were to say curl it directly, so if I go to open up a new terminal, let me just minimize this, minimize that. If I were to go curl, paste this here, and then change that to be admin.php, we're going to get an error. If I just go to, I think it's -I, would probably give us what we want. So here we get a 302 found. Basically, it says we're not allowed. You know, even if I add like a session token in there, it isn't going to let us. But if we come from localhost, it will. Hence why it works. And you can see here from this why it works. But based on that, what we can do is we can then use our XSS to make the admin who can access that content make the request on our behalf, and we can then read the request, the response of that request. So this is our Kelly machine, and yet we can see what the admin can see. So what does that mean? Well, that means basically we first of all have access to additional functionalities that we didn't have access to before. For example, we can now see how the backend looks. We now see there's an approve comment and a delete comment, like there is on the normal page. Just less pretty. And we can just see, obviously, the links. Now, the thing I look at, importantly, is upload. And we can see here is we have an upload.php. If you look in the bottom left of my screen, it says output upload.php. Basically, what that means is we need to go ahead and dump the upload.php functionality. Equally, we can look into the source code and you know, look for all links like href equals, and basically just pull those all down. I could probably show an example of that. So if I go into here and go to like say grep href from the admin.php, we're going to get all the hrefs, going to pipe into sort unique, and we can see probably all of the hrefs. It's a little bit it's not so clean. We could probably clean that up, to be fair. But let's say we don't want hrefs, but we want PHP instead, all the PHP files. We have a few less this time. I'm going to go ahead and make grep colorful. -- color equals always. Okay, now we can see we have upload.php, index.php, admin.php, and if we curl the normal one, we don't have that. If we just curl, say, we just curl this. Should we try and find the? Actually, I'll leave it for the moment. I want to carry on with the work. But the point is, we now have access to an upload.php. We don't have access, but we now know about it, is the point. So we can go ahead and tell the admin to go there. So go into access.js, change the path to be upload.php, change it away from being admin. Go ahead and just look here. So we go ahead and go to the browser. Now, yes, this does require the admin in a way to have to keep refreshing the page, but they don't even see the XSS execute, so they probably won't even notice anyways. You can probably write some JavaScript which will open up like a live session where you can grab stuff and run JavaScript live. That's a bit beyond the scope of this, although it's probably possible. I've done something similar in the past, but it wasn't entirely straightforward. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and hit refresh here. You can see here that we have should have a request made to content. By ls now we now have an upload.php. Firefox upload.php. And now we have access to the backend of the upload.php, which is sweet. So what we've done here is we have used our XSS to access functionality we shouldn't normally be able to access, and then now we can work forward. And you can see here, select image to upload and all this and that, and some XML. Now this gets my spider senses tingling in the sense of, oh, if it's uploading XML, we could either upload some XML external entity injection stuff, or maybe we could just upload a file in general and then go to it and then drop a shell, or maybe we could attack some other functionality. You never know. The point is, you know, we've unlocked functionality we shouldn't normally have access to. We started with being able to make a simple comment, but now we have access in a way to be able to, you know, execute. We have a way to be able to read the backend. Now, in my next video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can actually make the admin upload an XML file and then go ahead and trigger it and then get what you call local file inclusion, where you can read local files. But that is the next video, because this video is getting a little bit long. But just to summarize, what we have achieved is we have taken our XSS, to be able to read the admin page that we shouldn't be able to access. We've then found additional functionalities in the application, such as this upload functionality. And then now we know what. Now we have extra. We have access to extra functionality, and maybe we can exploit that. We personally, for our Kali machine, can't do it. But who says we can't use session writing to make the admin upload it? Now, uploading a file is kind of complicated. It's not simply going to a page and posting some data. There's some more stuff involved in there. But I'm going to show you a handy trick in the next episode to make this a lot easier. And it utilizes burp. Cool. So I will see you in the next one, and see you next in part 3. Take care. Thank you. Like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.